The truth is out there. Yeah? And who am I talking about, you're wondering? Bruno Gomez? Yes. Ben Jacobs, again, with the stories about Casemiro potentially being the one that's recommended him. That was an original story from, I think his name's Edu something. I don't really look towards him, but when it comes to Brazilian transfers, I've been told to take note, and he's just confirmed that. So now is Bruno Guimaraes on Manchester United's radar? Well, Ben Jacobs pretty much confirmed it. And not just that, Sandro Tonali seems to have more of the stocks in that side of things if Manchester United are to go from or pivot from the likes of Anderson, as United wants someone who can play a bit more of a deep line role if need be, a bit more defensively secure. Now, we could always do all different stories about different players that we've been recycled, pretty much the same three: Wharton, Anderson, Blaber. Anyone getting tired of that? Yes, absolutely. The question is, are Newcastle willing to make a deal for a team that's more than likely, never say never, going to make Champions League football, let alone European football? That is yet to be seen, as they have got trophies to go for, aka the FA Cup could be their route. Now, Bruno Guimaraes is 28, going on 29 if I'm correct, and there's been a lot of rumors about him leaving the club this summer. If the club does not get back into Champions League football for the next following season, he might see himself somewhere else. Now, it's going to be a gamble, of course, on Manchester United's side, considering the age that he is. It'd be something similar to Casemiro when we brought him in at his age. Oh, I love Bruno Guimaraes. I really would. Honestly, the things I'd do to have him in the squad. We just don't have a player like that, especially the way he is more of a deep line playmaker. But United do appreciate Anderson and is the top target. And Manchester City are yet to step up their interest. But there are reports today from TalkSport, as he's been, you know, he does stuff with Ben Jacobs as well. I can't even remember his name. I never used to really rate him as much until he started holding his hand. But from TalkSport, they're saying that, you know, Manchester City are going to step up their interest in Elliot Anderson, and they believe that he favours a move over there. Not that it's not known. He has followed them on Instagram, and everything else kind of tells you that they're in some sort of discussions. I mean, you just don't randomly follow a football club, do you, for just no reason mid-season? So whatever's happened there is yet to be seen. Can we convince him? We don't know. And Manchester City are gonna want a Rodri replacement potentially, or someone to partner that for the next season, as it looks like they're gonna miss out on the title second year in a row. That hasn't been done since Pep Guardiola's taken over. But what's best for Manchester United? Right? Is it Bruno Gomez? Is it Sandro Tonali? Is it good or a great factor that we are targeting these sort of players? And you've got to factor in what element would they bring, or elements would they bring to United's side, considering what we have at our disposal. Now, there's always talk about the midfielders. Are you bringing in two midfielders? Is it just going to be the one, which is just stupid? Or is it going to be three, again, which has been touted like over and over again? It's like these journalists can't really make up their damn minds when it comes to this part of the world of Manchester United's gaping hole of what's needed a rebuild since, well, you could probably say since Pogba and Matic came in, but one was super old at that point and legs were going 1 year later, and it still hasn't been fixed. We've been surviving McFred and imbalances since. Bruno Guimaraes, the only way I'd be willing to take him is if Newcastle are reasonable with the fee. Now, we've already seen that they're willing to part ways with him if 100 million was to come up. I'm not in favour of 100 million for a 29-year-old that's got 2 years left on his contract come this summer. So they got to write down. Bruno Gomez has got to put a lot of pressure on his side. And the only way I'd be willing to make some sort of deal is if it was to be about 25, 30 million less than the asking price at minimum, to be fair. I think he does bring a lot of qualities, and he would upgrade our midfield instantly, especially with the engine that he does possess and the playmaking skills he possesses. But United's biggest problem is something that he still doesn't exactly have compared to Elliot Anderson's and the likes of Sandro Tonali, is the engine. Now, we can go get one engine in the side, right? But that doesn't solve our overriding issues of what happens when that engine comes out of the side. You know, what is it going to look like if that player gets injured? You could argue that United need maybe 1, 3, perhaps 3, but 2 players at minimum or at max at least for this summer should be the ongoing requirement. Now, with Sandro Tonali, though, which Ben Jacobs has also just confirmed, is, well, I don't think he wants to stay at Newcastle no more. I think his agent has kind of shown through January that he's had enough of there. He wants to bring his Italian stallion self somewhere else that will appreciate his abilities and, you know, can appreciate them tenfold in competitions that he needs to be in, which is likely what we're going to be in, which is obviously the Champions League. But then it kind of goes against all the principles that Manchester United have done with certain players. Are you wanting to come to Manchester United because of Champions League football, or do you want to come here because you actually genuinely desire to play for the club and have had a long-standing, I don't know, desire to put the red shirt on and do well? Like Cunha, like Mbumo, who support the club, like Larmans, who supports the club, you know, or even like Sesko, who supports the club. I mean, you can't always get those sort of players, but I think it does factor in how much the player really wants to be somewhere and do well. I got a feeling Tonali wants to be back in Italy. But if he's available, you don't say no. Is he 100 million? Of course he isn't. Oh, 100% he's not. But with someone else that's also got, I believe, 2 years left in his contract that runs out in 28, I could be wrong. You got to be going out there thinking, well, I'm going to be spending at least 85, 90 million. You know, they folded over Isak for 120 something million, 125 million, when they were telling that it's 150 million or nothing. And you wouldn't exactly put Tonali in a bracket of, well, a midfielder over a striker who gets you goals, that he's going to cost you that much. I think Tonali would be appreciated very well next to the likes of Kobbie Mainoo. And the rest of it is, if you bring in someone like Baleba and Tonali, that's great and all, but who's doing the deep line playmaking from deep? See, that's where you pivot away from the likes of Baleba and you start looking at your Adam Whartons. And Adam Wharton and Tonali pivot sounds absolutely brilliant. You could put Wharton next to Kobbie Mainoo in certain games. You could put literally them three as a midfield in certain games. You could put Tonali next to Kobbie Mainoo as well in games, and it still provides balance. Newcastle game highlights, and it probably is a slight blessing in disguise if you want to be positive about this, about what Manchester United miss. Now, you can go look at all the stats as you want. Bruno Gomez seems to pick up injuries here and there, which I'm not, especially at a later age. It can be a bit of a risk. But how much would you guys be willing to put down on Bruno Gomez? What's the maximum price? Which is the fair price? And when it comes down to Tonali, what about him? Because I do have a feeling Anderson will pick City over Man United due to probably all the background, you know, that City do provide when it comes to chasing players and, you know, doing all the works behind the scenes to secure that said player. Maybe United was a little bit too late with this one, but never say never, right? I just don't really want to see in the summer where it's like, oh, Elliot Anderson, here we go, Manchester City. Manchester United put up a great offer, but he's always wanted Manchester City. I just don't want to be seeing that rubbish. But yeah, things are looking up, at least for the summer. There's only 9 games left for us of the season to go. And then the transfer chaos will begin. Oh, wait, hold on. It's already beginning. You should already know this as Man United fans. It's March. Get ready for every link under the sun. In a bit, smash the likes, hype the video.